of the story, titled The Distress Call, establishes the narrative's initial tension, setting, and central conflict, while introducing the human crew in a desperate situation. It begins aboard the starship Horizon, which has been severely damaged in battle, stranded amidst the wreckage of the Krelian sector. The Krelian sector is described as a chaotic battlefield, a place where war has left a trail of destruction, both in terms of physical debris and psychological strain. From the outset, readers understand that humanity is at a significant disadvantage. The Horizon is a lone ship struggling to survive against overwhelming odds. The ship's failing shields, the sputtering engines, and the crackling display panels are all tangible signs of impending doom. These technical details are not only world-building elements but also heighten the urgency, demonstrating that survival is not guaranteed. The audience immediately empathizes with the crew, as the tension is relatable. The anxiety of being trapped, of resources dwindling, and the fear of imminent destruction. Captain Rena Voss, the protagonist, is presented as a calm yet decisive leader. Her character is defined not through exposition alone, but through her reactions under pressure. She remains composed despite the chaos, demonstrating a human trait that will define the story: resilience in the face of overwhelming threats. This aligns with the HFY, Humans Are Exceptional theme, where humans are portrayed as uniquely adaptable and courageous. Lieutenant Chow, her second-in-command, represents a natural human response, fear and anxiety, which contrasts with Rena's calm and reinforces her role as a strong leader. His trembling voice and urgent warnings underscore the stakes, making the readers feel the tension as if they were in the corridors of the failing ship themselves. The narrative tension escalates when the crew decides to send an SOS to the Deathworlders, a legendary mercenary species known for their unparalleled ferocity. The SOS functions as both a literal plot device and a thematic statement. On the one hand, it is a desperate call for help, a last resort signaling humanity's vulnerability. On the other hand, it foreshadows the story's central twist. The Deathworlders are not conventional rescuers. The SOS demonstrates human hope and resourcefulness. Even in despair, humans take action rather than surrender. The storytelling here subtly emphasizes the HFY theme. Humans are audacious and willing to reach out into unknown dangers to survive. The narrative then introduces the arrival of the Deathworlders' ship. The description of the vessel is deliberate and calculated. It is massive, sleek, and almost otherworldly, absorbing light and warping space around it. The language conveys both awe and terror, reflecting the human perception of an alien threat that transcends mere physical danger. The tension in this moment is crucial. While an SOS usually signals rescue, the alien ship's presence creates immediate ambiguity. The reader is left questioning whether this is salvation or doom. This subversion of expectations is central to the story's HFY appeal. Humans are not merely facing external threats. They must also navigate alien psychology, encountering entities whose morality, tactics, and logic are completely alien. Finally, Part 1 closes with Rena's instinctive realization. The Deathworlders do not send aid. They send apex predators. This foreshadows the coming conflict while establishing the human trait that will carry through the story: quick thinking, courage, and the ability to confront dangers that no one else could endure. It sets the narrative tone for the rest of the story, one of survival, ingenuity, and the indomitable human spirit. Readers are left at the edge of suspense, fully aware that what seems like help is actually an existential threat, and that humanity's survival will depend not on sheer firepower but on cleverness, adaptability, and fearlessness. In essence, Part 1 accomplishes several critical goals. It introduces the setting and stakes, defines the main characters, establishes immediate tension and suspense, and foreshadows the unique challenges that humanity will face. It sets the stage for the story's central HFY theme by demonstrating that humans, even in their most vulnerable state, have a resilience and ingenuity that alien civilizations underestimate at their peril. Titled Arrival of the Predator, escalates the tension established in Part 1 by introducing the Deathworlders' true response to the human SOS, a weaponized ship designed to dominate, intimidate, and annihilate. This section is critical because it shifts the story from anticipation and uncertainty into immediate, tangible danger. While Part 1 focused on the desperation of the humans and the ominous potential of the Deathworlders' arrival, Part 2 makes the threat explicit, laying the groundwork for humanity's resourcefulness and the HFY theme of human ingenuity and unpredictability under pressure. The story begins with the Deathworlder ship drawing closer to the horizon. The description of the vessel is meticulous and symbolic. It is monolithic, shadowed, and covered in dark plates that seem to absorb light. These details do more than convey visual grandeur. They evoke a sense of dread and alien supremacy. The ship's very presence affects space itself, warping the stars, emphasizing that this is not merely another warship, but an apex predator in mechanical form. The narrative emphasizes the overwhelming scale and power of the Deathworlder vessel, demonstrating why any conventional rescue or military strategy would be futile. Humans are shown as physically outmatched, yet this imbalance sets the stage for HFY storytelling. The focus shifts from brute strength to human cunning, creativity, and adaptability. The story also introduces the first explicit communication from the Deathworlders: SOS acknowledged, intervention authorized, prepare for assimilation. This line is pivotal, as it transforms the SOS from a potential lifeline into a death sentence. It conveys alien intentions that are completely foreign to human morality. The concept of assimilation suggests that the Deathworlders see humans not as equals or allies, but as resources or challenges to dominate. The inclusion of such a chilling statement not only heightens suspense, but reinforces the HFY theme. Humans are facing a species that underestimates them, assuming they will respond predictably, and this underestimation will become humanity's greatest advantage. As the Predator ship begins its assault, Part 2 immerses the audience in the chaos of combat. A beam slices through the horizon, severing communications and sending crew members sprawling. Here, the story emphasizes sensory detail: the burning metal, the ozone-filled air, the alarms blaring, to place the reader in the moment. These elements contribute to the realism of the narrative and make the human struggle palpable. By juxtaposing the sheer destructive power of the Deathworlder ship against the human's vulnerability, the narrative heightens suspense, while also establishing the stakes. Survival is not guaranteed, and conventional strategies will not suffice. Despite this, human traits emerge as the defining elements of the story. Captain Rena's instinctive command to reinforce the shields and target the enemy's engines demonstrates not only leadership under pressure, but also human adaptability. Lieutenant Chow's skepticism, "We're outmatched," mirrors the audience's logical assessment, underscoring the human's disadvantage. However, Rena's decisive response, emphasizing unpredictability and ingenuity, lays the foundation for the core HFY message. Humans are dangerous not because they are invincible, but because they are clever, resourceful, and willing to exploit what aliens cannot anticipate. This establishes a recurring motif. Humans thrive where others rely solely on brute strength or calculated aggression. Part 2 also serves a narrative function of foreshadowing. By showing the Predator ship's overwhelming technological and military superiority, the story creates anticipation for how humans will overcome these challenges. The Horizon's crew is not merely fighting for survival, they are engaging in a battle of wits against a species designed to crush opposition. This sets up the human ingenuity, tactical creativity, and audacity that will define the remainder of the story. In conclusion, Part 2 achieves several objectives. It introduces the full scope of the Deathworlders' threat, escalates tension through immediate combat and sensory immersion, and begins to highlight the unique human traits that will drive the story forward. It reinforces the HFY theme by emphasizing that humans, even when outmatched, are unpredictable and capable of ingenuity that alien civilizations fail to anticipate. Through careful description, dialogue, and narrative pacing, Part 2 transforms a suspenseful setup into a full-blown, high-stakes confrontation, ensuring the reader is both terrified and captivated, eagerly anticipating how humans will respond to this apex predator. The SOS reached the Deathworlders. What arrived was far more dangerous than help, titled The Human Gambit, marks a turning point in the story. Up to this moment, the narrative has focused on establishing the overwhelming power of the Deathworlder ship and the extreme peril faced by the human crew aboard the Horizon. Part 3 shifts the focus from vulnerability to strategy, showcasing humanity's ingenuity, adaptability, and capacity to confront insurmountable odds, core aspects of the HFY, humans are exceptional theme. This section is crucial because it transforms humans from passive victims into active players in the galactic chess game, highlighting traits that alien civilizations consistently underestimate. The narrative begins with the humans leveraging the debris of the Krelian sector as cover. Here, the story emphasizes human resourcefulness. The battlefield is littered with destroyed ships, fragments of engines, and twisted metal, a chaotic environment that would immobilize most species. Yet humans turn this debris into a tactical advantage. They use gravity projectors, previously small and experimental technology, to create gravitational traps that alter the trajectory of the Deathworlder ship. The narrative detail that these projectors were not designed to take down colossal ships, but are repurposed, demonstrates human adaptability. Even seemingly inadequate tools can become lethal in skilled hands. This reflects a recurring HFY theme. Humans succeed not because they possess superior raw strength, but because they are capable of creative, unpredictable problem-solving. The story describes the Deathworlder ship's response with meticulous care. As it moves through the trap, the colossal vessel struggles to maintain control, its mass becoming a liability. This juxtaposition, the alien ship's size and technological superiority against human ingenuity, serves a dual narrative purpose. First, it creates suspense, as readers witness humans manipulating forces far beyond their apparent means. Second, it reinforces the thematic element of underestimation. The Deathworlders, confident in their dominance, could not predict the humans' unconventional tactics. The HFY theme is amplified here. It is precisely the unpredictability and audacity of humans that gives them leverage over an ostensibly superior foe. The introduction of the stealth drones carrying pulse disruptors further emphasizes the ingenuity and tactical brilliance of humans. The drones are described as tiny, fast, and nearly invisible, highlighting the contrast between the colossal, imposing predator ship and the subtle, agile tools of human warfare. Each drone's pulse disruptor momentarily disables the Deathworlder shields, giving the Horizon a window to strike. This moment embodies the HFY principle that humans thrive in situations where direct confrontation is impossible. Instead of meeting brute force with brute force, they exploit weaknesses, create openings, and capitalize on the unexpected, qualities that alien civilizations, reliant on raw power and rigid strategy, fail to anticipate. Part 3 also emphasizes human psychological resilience. Captain Rena's leadership is central. She remains calm, decisive, and forward-thinking despite the chaos. Lieutenant Chow's awestruck exclamation, They didn't expect this. We actually encapsulates the narrative's celebration of human capability. Humans are depicted as resilient, not only physically but mentally. able to maintain composure and clarity when faced with overwhelming threats. This psychological edge complements their tactical ingenuity, reinforcing the HFY theme that humans are formidable because of their adaptability in thought and action. The pacing and structure of Part 3 are designed to heighten tension while showcasing strategy. Unlike Part 2, which focuses on the alien threat and its overwhelming power, Part 3 focuses on counteraction. The narrative alternates between the humans' planning and the visible effects of their gambit on the Deathworlder ship, creating a dynamic and suspenseful rhythm. Readers can follow both the strategy and the immediate consequences, deepening engagement and reinforcing the sense that humanity, while seemingly weaker, can manipulate circumstances to their advantage. Finally, Part 3 foreshadows the larger conflict and eventual turning of the tide. The Deathworlder ship, though not destroyed, is shaken by human ingenuity, a signal that conventional assumptions of alien superiority are flawed. The narrative emphasizes that humans do not merely survive, they create circumstances where even apex predators can be challenged. This sets the stage for the subsequent parts, in which humans escalate their tactics, exploit weaknesses further, and fully demonstrate why the galaxy underestimates them at its peril. In conclusion, Part 3 shifts the story from desperation to tactical brilliance. Through inventive use of the environment, repurposed technology, stealth operations, and psychological resilience, humanity demonstrates its unique capacity to turn hopeless situations into strategic opportunities. It reinforces the HFY theme. Humans are unpredictable, resourceful, and capable of confronting threats far beyond their apparent power. The Horizon's gambit is not just survival, it is a testament to the ingenuity and courage that define humanity's place in the galaxy, titled Turning the Tables, represents the narrative climax of human ingenuity, courage, and tactical audacity in the story The SOS Reached the Deathworlders. What arrived was far more dangerous than help. While the previous sections have built tension and established the humans' resourcefulness in the face of overwhelming alien power, this part focuses on the escalation of action, showcasing humanity's ability to exploit opportunities, adapt to alien technology, and challenge a seemingly unstoppable predator. It is here that the HFY, Humans Are Exceptional theme, crystallizes, as humans shift from defensive improvisation to active dominance, proving that intellect, unpredictability, and courage can rival brute strength. The narrative begins by emphasizing the continued danger posed by the Deathworlder ship. Despite the previous gambits, the gravitational traps, and the stealth drones, the Predator remains far superior in firepower, armor, and raw technological might. Its attacks still tear through the horizon, reinforcing the stakes and reminding readers that humans are still, in conventional terms, the weaker side. This balance is crucial for the HFY theme. The story does not rely on humans being physically dominant, but rather on their ability to leverage creativity, strategy, and audacity. It reminds the audience that true HFY narratives celebrate cunning, adaptability, and the unquantifiable human spirit. Captain Reyna's leadership is pivotal in this section. She quickly recognizes that defensive measures alone are insufficient. To survive, the humans must escalate and become proactive. The story describes her decision to jettison non-essential mass from the horizon, a bold and unconventional tactic. By shedding weight, the ship can maneuver unpredictably, taking advantage of the Predator's assumptions about inertia and trajectory. This move is emblematic of human creativity and improvisation. While the Deathworlders rely on predictable calculations and rigid strategies, humans embrace improvisation and chaos, turning it into an advantage. This moment encapsulates the HFY message. Humans thrive where others depend solely on brute force or rigid logic. The narrative then details the impact of this strategy. The Deathworlder ship collides with a massive human-deployed asteroid fragment, shaking its colossal frame and causing temporary system failures. This is a pivotal moment in Part 4. The collision demonstrates that humans can manipulate their environment to level the playing field, turning physical vulnerabilities into strategic tools. It also signals a shift in the battle's dynamics. For the first time, the predator is not fully in control. By exploiting weaknesses that are invisible to a straightforward calculation of power, humans reveal the fundamental unpredictability that alien civilizations often fail to account for. Part 4 also emphasizes direct engagement and human daring. Captain Rena deploys an elite boarding team to infiltrate the Deathworlder vessel. This escalation from ship-based tactics to direct combat illustrates the humans' willingness to take calculated personal risks. Alien civilizations, especially apex predators like the Deathworlders, are accustomed to intimidation and overwhelming firepower. Humans, however, challenge them in a manner that is chaotic, unconventional, and psychologically destabilizing. The story highlights how even a technologically inferior species can become formidable when it leverages unpredictability, courage, and tactical flexibility. Through this infiltration, the humans demonstrate multiple HFY traits: ingenuity in sabotaging enemy systems, fearlessness in the face of superior combatants, and cooperation under pressure. Each member of the boarding party acts with precision and creativity, turning the Deathworlders' assumptions against them. The Predator ship, designed to dominate weaker species through fear and raw power, is unprepared for a small, coordinated team that attacks unpredictably from within. This mirrors historical and speculative military examples where smaller, innovative forces can destabilize vastly superior opponents. A thematic element that reinforces the HFY focus on intelligence and adaptability over mere size or strength. The pacing of Part 4 is critical. Unlike earlier sections, which build suspense and introduce strategy, this section balances fast-paced action with calculated risk-taking. The narrative alternates between the chaos of combat, the technical ingenuity of sabotage, and the psychological tension of infiltrating a superior alien VCOs. The SOS reached the Deathworlders. What arrived was far more dangerous than help, titled Survival and Legacy, serves as the resolution of the story, culminating the tension, action, and HFY themes developed across the previous 4 parts. In this section, the narrative shifts from the chaos of immediate combat to the consequences of human ingenuity, resilience, and courage. It emphasizes not only survival, but also humanity's distinct qualities that make them unpredictable and formidable in the galaxy, reinforcing the core HFY, humans are exceptional, message. Humans are never fully understood by alien civilizations, and underestimation is their greatest advantage. The part begins with the aftermath of the intense confrontation detailed in Part 4. The Deathworlder ship, despite its overwhelming firepower and technological superiority, has been destabilized by human tactics. It retreats, not destroyed but temporarily forced to disengage due to strategic sabotage, environmental manipulation, and relentless human ingenuity. This retreat is significant. It demonstrates that humans are capable of surviving and even controlling situations that would be fatal to most other species. The story highlights the interplay between physical endurance, psychological resilience, and strategic adaptability. Humans do not merely react to threats. They analyze, exploit weaknesses, and manipulate their environment to level the playing field. This is the essence of HFY storytelling. Triumph against the odds through intellect and creativity rather than brute force alone. Captain Rena's perspective in this part provides a thematic anchor. She surveys the damage, noting the battered but still functional horizon and the exhausted crew. Her calm, composed demeanor, even after the prolonged battle, underscores the human capacity for leadership under extreme pressure. Unlike many alien civilizations in the story, which rely on sheer power or intimidation, humans demonstrate composure, clarity of thought, and decisive action in moments of crisis. This characterization reinforces the HFY message. Humans succeed in adversity because they combine courage, adaptability, and ingenuity with mental and emotional resilience, qualities that predators like the Deathworlders cannot predict or counter effectively. Part 5 also emphasizes the psychological and emotional consequences of surviving such an encounter. Lieutenant Chow's awe-struck reaction, his realization that humans are capable of defying expectation even against superior opponents, mirrors the reader's own sense of wonder and reinforces the narrative's thematic core. The dialogue, particularly Chow's remark about never calling for help again, serves as a meta-commentary on the broader HFY concept. Human survival is often the product of self-reliance, clever problem-solving, and an audacious willingness to take calculated risks. This interaction humanizes the narrative, reminding readers that heroism is not only about extraordinary feats, but also about character, teamwork, and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. The story's climax also emphasizes the consequences for the Deathworlders. By retreating, they acknowledge that humans are not merely another species to dominate. Their failure to anticipate human unpredictability highlights a recurring theme throughout the narrative. Alien civilizations, no matter how advanced or fearsome, consistently underestimate humanity. This reinforces the HFY principle that humans are dangerous precisely because they cannot be fully calculated or anticipated. Their creativity, improvisation, and willingness to take risks make them uniquely capable of challenging even the most formidable opponents in the galaxy. Narratively, Part 5 serves to resolve both action and thematic tension. The immediate danger has passed, but the story leaves a lasting impression of humanity's exceptional qualities. The horizon limps back to friendly space, battered but victorious, symbolizing resilience and the triumph of ingenuity over raw power. The narrative concludes with a reflection on human capability. Even in the face of superior technology, overwhelming firepower, and predatory adversaries, humans endure, adapt, and ultimately prevail. This final resolution underscores the HFY theme that survival and dominance are not always determined by raw strength, but by adaptability, cunning, and audacious courage. Finally, Part 5 establishes a legacy. Humans have proven themselves not only capable of surviving encounters with apex predators, but of influencing the strategic calculations of the galaxy's most dangerous civilizations. The story closes with Captain Rena and her crew as symbols of human resourcefulness and determination. The cautionary message for alien species is clear. Humans should never be underestimated. The narrative leaves the audience with a sense of awe and admiration, cementing the story's HFY identity by celebrating human ingenuity, unpredictability, and relentless courage in the face of overwhelming odds.